Welcome guys to a brand new video on solo leveling Arise. Now I wasn't even sure I was going to do this because I had no intentions on getting her A1, but I did. So the reason why I'm making this video is because my last video where I made is she a must-have, is the brand new Yoo Soohyun a must-have character. That was my testing at A0, going over the perspective of the free-to-play player, and at A0 just get Choi, or just keep using Choi. She wasn't significantly improved in your gameplay or your damage. But now that I have A1, I did make a claim. I believe I said that A1 should be the same as Choi at A2. I wouldn't say that 100% after my testing right now. Now the gameplay you guys are seeing, completely rubbish gameplay. I did go ahead after finishing that recording. I did go ahead and properly play again for a couple of minutes just to test out her rotations and her damage. But let me know down in the comment section if my rotation for the brand new character Yoo Soohyun is horrible, so that I can improve it, just in case that is skewing my results. So basically my results at A1, she is slightly comparable to Choi at A2, but I want to make something clear. The build that you can see on my Yoo Soohyun is pretty much the armed set with the executioner set, but of course there is the new set with the curse set, the greed set, and blessing set. But of course maybe one of those sets is better suited for her compared to the armed set right now. I really doubt it though, because the arm set basically ignores defense, but okay. But we do have is it the curse set? Yes, the curse set that we could try on her. But the reason why I didn't want to run this test is because I don't have a good curse set to give Choi and to give her as well. So that's a really terrible testing in my opinion. So what I did was to give both of those characters arm set, which of course Choi would also like, and then I also gave Choi the concentration of firepower. So yeah, my testing showed that pretty much A1 is actually very important, guys. I'm not even gonna lie. A1, if you have Choi already and your Choi is A3, you don't need her. I will say that. She is going to be better than Choi in my opinion at like max advancement, but it's not too much of an increase in damage in my opinion. Now, one thing I want to mention is when we talk about Alicia and Choi, they are pretty much the only DPS for that specific element, and they literally have no other character that, well, except Alicia. She has Soljiu, which she could use as well, but of course Alicia does way more damage and shield and freezing. So in my opinion, Alicia just obviously is better. But when you are talking about those characters, they pretty much don't have any comparison. However, unfortunately for Yoo Soohyun, she does have a comparison. You can compare her to another character, another DPS, main DPS for the fire elements, and that is Choi. So that's essentially what my testing was, because the other characters, they are just too broken for me to test them against her. They are A3 or A5, or they have better gears or just overall increased stats compared to her. So Choi is the only one I can compare her with, which is honestly the perfect way to test her out. And I've got to say A1. Okay, first of all, A0 versus A2 Choi wins pretty easily. Sorry about the background noise that you guys could hear. Now A1 versus A2, it's slightly similar, but again Choi still has a advantage with his damage, plus of course the supportive capability he has for the team as well. I believe I was able to bring down the opponent's HP down to like 28 with Choi, with like terrible gameplay. Like I literally can't play Choi for the life of me. I literally can't. I keep getting hit multiple times, so he's literally on the ground most of the fight, but he was still also able to get 28. So I'm just gonna assume that if I wasn't getting hit with Choi, I would be able to output way more damage than with the brand new character Yoo Soohyun. But Yoo Soohyun, if I was able, well, when I was able to actually get her gameplay working in terms of not being hit, I was actually able to do quite a bit of damage, and the damage was again comparable to Choi. But I do think Choi slightly has an edge over her, but I do think as you get more dupes for this character, she might scale even better. So again, that's something we need to test. But again, I don't think she's on the same level as Alicia or Choi, because they literally don't have any other comparisons with like the elements and the best DPS. In the future, when we get a good support character for the fire team, you will then have to decide, are you going to be sticking with Choi, or are you going to be sticking with Yoo Soohyun? And then you have to keep Emma in your team as well. So again, she's fighting with Choi, so you got to decide who you want to stick with. And I think because Choi has been a character since day one of the game, a lot of people have more deeps for Choi. And would you spend limited resources to go ahead and get a character that well, at A1 isn't actually, A1 is probably better than Choi at A1 as well then. Yeah, probably. Anyways, I think she's just on the same tier as Choi for now, but of course advancement is very important. But is she a must-have? I would say no. I would say no with my testing. She is good, but she is not a must-have, especially when we have the information about the second character, the next character coming up. She's not a must-have. She's not on the same tier as Alicia. From my initial testing for free-to-play stance, I mean, some free-to-play players might be able to get her to A3, but I won't be able to test that out. So yeah, let me know down in the comment section if you guys are still going to be summoning for her. I do think she is a good character. Again, I am not bashing on her, unlike what I did with Alicia. I did bash her because you need to get her to A5 to get that smooth gameplay with that buttery smooth destruction of a unit. With her, maybe at A5 she becomes even insane as well. I think defense penetration does have potential to be able to like one-shot certain content, or not one-shot, but like become like West Wind, just like instant kill most of the enemies we go against. So that is something we need to take a look at as well. In terms of anywhere else I could take her into to test, maybe in what's it called, Power of Destruction. Maybe she will have better DPS there. But again, she is a character that scales off defense penetration. But again, my build for her was actually not that bad. I had crit rate, max crit rate, and like almost each of my artifacts pretty much had a defense penetration stats on it as well. But again, it is something that you probably want to like make sure she gets a lot more defense penetration. But I believe I have like 16% defense penetration. Of course, it isn't too crazy. She does scale off defense penetration, so you do need more of that in your gear. To be honest, actually, I do think it might be even more important than crit rate for her, because I did test her out with like 20% crit rate. The damage is kind of the same, honestly. I switched from crit rate, so my crit rate was 22%, but a higher higher defense penetration, and then I switched it out for higher crit rates, but still good good defense penetration, but not too much. But the damage was still the same, so I'm guessing defense penetration is more important to her than crit. But of course, that's something that needs to be tested even more. Again, this is just first day testing, so more testing will happen. Do not bash me if it turns out like on day 3 there's a new synergy with her to make sure you deal insane amount of damage. This is just taking a look at Yoo Soohyun as a unit by herself without any supportive capability, because of course given other support characters, well, if you take a look at other support characters, they will obviously increase any DPS. So it will be the same for Choi as well. So yeah. Anyways, hopefully you guys like this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It's been your boy AC Gamer, and I'm out.